have Mr. David Chia, Managing Director of Backoff Automation Private Limited, who will be sharing his thoughts on smart manufacturing. How far away are we from full realization in this region? So if you have any questions for Mr. David, you may type in the Q&A panel. Mr. David, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. So my turn to share my screen. Okay, good. Let me make sure I share the audio as well. Okay, share screen, share sound, share. Okay, good. Right, very good morning to everyone. I'm David from Backoff Automation. So it's a wonderful speech and presentation from Kevin that you heard earlier, and I think he brought up a lot of topics about the relevance of smart manufacturing, smart automation, Industry 4.0 for SMEs. Right. So today, my topic is it's quite big. It says smart manufacturing. How far are we from full realization? So in short, it's are we there yet? So this morning, I like to give you a little bit of what I observed. But of course, before that, also a little bit about my background. So you know where I am making my observations from. So I don't wear a tie today. I'm working from home. It is also a new reality of today's working. So that's me in my normal day. Some people say that this photo looks like a feng shui master. I'm not too sure, but it's taken in a studio. He asked me to put this pose so it looks nicer. Well, I got my education, my first degree in electrical engineering. I major in power and controls. Then later on, I add on a second degree with an MBA. And throughout my 20 years of, I'll say 20 years of career, I started in a technical role before moving on to products and sales. So I'm very lucky that when I first started out, I have a lot of seniors and colleagues who were very helpful in my discovery journey throughout my whole career. So my day job, I'm managing director for Backoff Singapore, right? I'm also the head of OPC Hub in ASEAN. So OPC, it's part of a branch of OPC Foundation. If you have not heard about OPC Foundation, maybe you have heard about OPC UA. So I also volunteer my time in the local associations, and I sit as a council member in the Singapore Manufacturing Federation and the Singapore Industrial Automation Association. Right? I also sit on a standards committee looking at relevant standards in a smart manufacturing context relevant for Singapore. So that's a little bit about me. And where I come from, I mean, in the space of manufacturing is very wide. We have system integrators, we have machine builders, we have the users, the factory owners, and we also have this little red dot over here, which I put up my laser pointer. Right, we also put it up here that I really come from this space called the product and technology provider. So in a way, we are providing products to the system integrators. The system integrators, the machine builder then sells this into the factories, and the interactions for users is mainly as an advocate and consultant in the automation design and new technology adoption. And of course, in today's term, we are talking more about Industry 4.0, who is doing what, how you get there, what is the state of your factory, and so on. Now, the next two slides is just to give you a background about Backoff, right? It's a German-based international automation company. From a product and technology standpoint, we sell into multiple industries. So like, for example, in Penang, right up north in Malaysia, semiconductor is in a super boom now, right? It is in a super boom. It's a global industry of 500 billion today, and it looks set to double in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, having these statistics, we're also reminded that it took 60 years to reach this $500 billion mark, right, worldwide. But you only take another decade to double. So I'll say Penang is in a very good place. And I'm sure if you are in these industries, whether you are a MNC or SME serving the semicon electronics, work must be very busy for you now, 24/7. Now, besides that, we have also things like environmental sustainability issues, which are also taking center stage together with smart city, renewable energy, and so on. I talk about this is because it's all part and parcel about manufacturing. It's not just about the technology within the shop floor, yeah, but we're also talking about the whole ecosystem. Now, just draw your attention to one of these industry called automotive. Maybe it is not so prevalent up north, yeah, but it is definitely an industry which is very relevant for Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. Now, traditional automotive is also undergoing a very big transformation stage now. Not exactly in manufacturing, but from the changing of ICE, internal combustion energy, engines, to EVs. So what I do observe is there are a lot of demand coming from EV production, whether it is from factory or from EV assembly, happening both in Korea, in China, and also in Germany. Now, so what is smart manufacturing about when we talk about that? Is it just about the latest and greatest technology? So earlier you've heard about standardization, competency, technology. So it's always a mix of discipline coming together to define manufacturing. And if I may draw upon how, at least from the Singapore side, when we look at Industry 4.0, we are looking at it from three main pillars, starting from the manufacturing centric one, which is mainly about the factory. So technology within the factory, connectivity, intelligence, and automation. But we also look at people, which is very similar to competency that Kevin talked about. And then we also talk about the process, and then also about the product. Is the product capable enough to go into Industry 4.0? Does it allow it? And I would like to give you an example of what is smart manufacturing, at least in my perspective. All right, let's start by ordering a car. So today I want to buy a car. You used to go to the showroom, right? You go to the showroom, you talk to the salesman, and then the salesman will show you a list. These are the cars that I have. These are the colors that I have, and it will come in 2 months or it will come in 6 months. Good. So today I go on to the internet. I choose the car model that I like, right? I choose the color that I like, and all right, the price comes up. I click OK, order. So ideally, is when this order gets into the factory, 2 weeks later, ta-da! I get my car, right? That's ideal. So cars are being manufactured according to what you ordered. But what we know today is, as an example, and this is not just talking about cars, it's talking about a lot of products. It's not just manufactured according to what is being ordered, it's manufactured according to forecasts. So you forecast what you think you will sell, and then you manufacture it. Then as a consumer, I choose what is available on the ship coming onto port. Or I can indent the car and I get it 6 months later. Now, we are also trying to cut this waste, because when you manufacture according to forecasts, there will definitely be something going to waste, and there will be something that is going to be stocked up. Not enough, because you can't, in a way, predict very accurately what consumers really like. So in short, or in very simple terms, the first things I think about
是听不到 right? Excuse me, David, I think your voice is being cut off.
Hi, Mr. David. I think we couldn't hear your voice. Mr. David?
Cindy or Fiona, probably you can call him.
Yeah, let me call him, yeah.
Mr. David? I think we couldn't hear you. No, we still couldn't hear you.
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can hear now.
Okay.
I can hear now.
Yeah, I'm not
Yes,
sure
we
what
can hear
happens
you
to my
now.
speaker. Weird. All right, so let me share again. Get back to the screen, share. Okay, so that means. So which part did I stop? Oh dear, I can't hear myself.
The one more slide. The next slide.
Select. Testing.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, so which slide did you not hear me from?
The
Sorry.
next slide.
Next slide. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good. Thank you.
no worries.
Yeah, I'm not sure why my speaker get cut off. Okay, so what is smart manufacturing, right? I mean, we all know these buzzwords, right? So I'll say, yeah, smart manufacturing is about just in time, right? I don't want to spend too much time or lose too much time. I want just enough. I don't want to make more than what is enough, and I don't want to make less than what the customers is asking for. But of course, in today's COVID term, we're also looking at just in case. Now, in this small little chart here, right, I have two pictures, right? Just now you saw these pictures without the audio. Now I add in the audio part. In this picture, we see two phones. This is iPhone 13, right? It's iPhone 13, the latest one. On the left, I have a blue one. On the right, I got a pink one. So as a manufacturer, how many of which color are you going to make? Now, besides pink, there's also yellow and gray and silver. So how many of each are you going to make? And but before that, we also know it comes in 128 gigabyte, it comes in 256, and so on. So what color and what memory size? How much should you make? Now, besides that, there is also iPhone 13 Pro, the small one and the big one, and an iPhone mini. So as a manufacturer, do you know? Can you know? Well, in many countries, iPhone or Apple actually selects, right? Actually selects pre-order. You say, okay, give me your pre-order. Maybe 2 weeks later, you can collect your phone. But this pre-order is more about allocation. It's not about affecting the factories. These phones are already manufactured. They are already on the way to the warehouses. So if we want to achieve this, right, how do we bring customers' intention all the way to production, just in time and just enough? If we can do that, I think it fulfills a very big part about smart manufacturing. So from the answers that you answer yourself, you probably know that, okay, we are not there yet, right? We are not there yet, be it the bigger MNCs, neither the small SMEs. Are we already been able to do what I just described? No. Now, Apple has not much of a challenge of just enough, right? Apple has no challenge because people queue and people rush after the launch. They go into the shop. Can I have blue? Blue, no more. Okay, I will take the silver one. Do you have a 256? No. Okay, I'll take the 5121. So they have such power where consumers can change. Most of us, we don't have this luxury. Now, the second point is also suppliers and subcontractors to Apple are heavily bound to provide their best times, right? In today's rising lead time, they are still committed to provide best time, best services, and best whatever. Why? iPhone 12, right? The previous one sold more than 100 million units in its life. Just iPhone 12. And one thing we remember, that I will also remember, we are all not Apple. So is our manufacturers in this region already at the stage of smart manufacturing? Not many, right? I have to say not many. In fact, many, okay, I would not say many because I don't have the exact statistics. Instead, there are still companies asking, what is Industry 4.0? What does it mean for me? What do I stand to benefit? We will talk about this as we go on. Now, how about just in case?
Yep, just in case. But besides that, what other buzzwords do we hear? What is about smart manufacturing? We have small batches. We like to produce on demand, and we like to maintain the flexibility. Right? If my plant is set up, if my factory is set up to produce a certain product, how quickly can I change it over? Right? Because batches might be smaller, and it might come because customer may just call me, can you produce 100,000 pieces of this? And I have to change my manufacturing line. It takes 3 weeks. Let's say, for example, it takes 3 weeks. Yeah, too long. It takes 3 days. Still too long. It takes 3 hours. Maybe acceptable. So how do we build this into our manufacturing stage? So if you are a factory owner and you think that it is not important, right? Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing, I don't care whether whichever government is giving me the grant, my business is still doing well. I still get orders. And this has been the way I'm doing things for the last 20 years. So what am I worried about? I'm worried about nothing. We have to think again. So now it becomes, if you are not going into this smart manufacturing stage, if you are not going into Industry 4.0, it's not about how you can benefit from it, right? It is more of, how long are you going to survive? You may not survive very long. Yeah, you may not survive very long. Okay, just my personal opinion. If there are others who share this same opinion, good. If there are others who don't share the same opinion, that's fine. Now, in the world of manufacturing, there are many, many players, not just the users. So in this simple graphics over here, I'm just trying to list out all the different stakeholders in manufacturing that I can think of, right? Things like manufacturing intelligence, right? Having dashboard in the manager's room. We talk about buying machines. We talk about integrating the lines. We talk about having certain HMI. We talk about robots. Now, why I put up this picture over here is also a clear reminder that Industry 4.0 is not just buying a certain product. It is not buying a product, plug in, turn on, and now my factory is Industry 4.0. No, right? It is not. In the world of manufacturing, there are many stakeholders, including your logistic partners, right? Including your logistic partners over here, right? They are the one who are going to deliver your raw materials. They are the one who are going to send your goods out for final delivery. We have people in the quality department. We have people in the management, so on and so forth. And all right, I have a term here called RPA, robotic process automation. It's software automation, not hardware automation, but it also plays an important part. Many companies, what I observe is they started with the first step by going digital, transforming the paperwork to digital first. So that's always the first step that I observe. The next first step is getting information about your production shop floor. So this is basically just getting information, OEE of the machines, for example, production status, for example, mainly for observation. So these are the 2 key steps that I've seen companies taking on. But is that alone Industry 4.0? No, that only gives you some visibility. Now, before I go on to the next slide about why are we not moving, or why are we not so fast? I would add in a key term over here, which is not in my presentation, but I think it is important to note. As we go from paperwork manual to digital, a lot of our things are going into computers, onto servers, onto cloud, for example. Please take note about cybersecurity. Yep, cybersecurity is crucial. It is not a topic for me today, but it is something that if and when you embark on this digitalization journey, please always keep in mind about cybersecurity. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that, oh, because it is not cyber secure, I'm going to put everything in paper and I'll put everything in my safe instead of my server. No. But to be aware means you are able to mitigate it. Now, starting with smart manufacturing, there's always questions about why. I'm quite sure the previous speaker talked about that. I'm also quite sure the next speakers also talk about that. Why do Industry 4.0? Why smart manufacturing? I have said earlier, if you are not on Industry 4.0, you're not on this journey, you risk losing out, right? Your survival of the company is at stake. Now, some people also think, hey, but I don't know how, right? I don't know how, I don't know where to start. And Technology. Technology means higher costs. Can it bring down costs for me? Right? Can it bring down costs for me? But it's higher costs. I'm talking about cash flow. So where am I going to get the money if I'm thinking about cash flow day on day? Well, that's where the government grants come in. Build your business plans, put up your strategy properly, right? And then make use of all the different grants that you may get. If you are in Malaysia, you get grants from Malaysian government. If you are Singapore, you get grants from the Singapore government. Use that as a booster. Now, of course, you also ask who can head it. So this red guy over here, yeah, you have to find someone to head it. And usually I would say this will be the bosses, people who believe it, and not just to hire someone and say, okay, now you are our head of transformation and you go and do things. No, usually it has to be from the management. Now, I will show you a video here. Hopefully the video goes through well and not get cut off. This is an example of a product which is made last year during a very much needed time during this pandemic. When COVID hits, ICU beds get very crowded, hospital runs out of ventilators. So this company took 2 months, right? Took 2 months to build ventilators from scratch. They are not even a ventilator companies. And I like to show you from the video. So let's start the video.
Early stage of the COVID-19 pandemic, we were horrified by the idea that many doctors had to make life and death decisions because of equipment shortages. We quickly realized that many open source designs weren't up to our requirements. Technical functionality, ease of use, long-term reliability, and most of all, patient safety. These, along with cost efficiency and fast time to market, became our design principles. We assembled a team of 30 professionals, biomedical engineering profs with 25 years in ventilator design, ICU doctors from COVID clinics, electronic and pneumatic engineers, production and certification experts, project managers, and so on. All these people put in long days over the last 2 months to bring to life a new ventilator, CoreVent, designed specifically for COVID patients with the most severe respiratory failures. It can compete with the top ventilators on the market. Our breakthrough was to make CoreVent from off-the-shelf industrial components sourced from EU states, allowing an assembly line approach to guarantee tens of thousands of units in these coming months. Our ventilators are also optimized for emergency situations, as well as military and state reserves, as they are at least 3 times less expensive than standard ventilators, are stackable, made from durable stainless steel, and usable in hospitals and makeshift environments. Components and batteries will last for many years, and with software upgrades can handle future crises with pulmonary infections. We have passed all harmonized EU tests for medical electrical equipment required to place the ventilator in any EU hospital, while CE, FDA, and Russian certifications are in progress. We initially funded CoreVent on our own without official Czech or EU support by pulling our own money and work, soliciting donations from over 7,000 private citizens and companies, and making use of free development and production facilities. An investment of about 1 million euros into logistics and production line extension would let us boost production to several hundred units a day, as well as develop new needed types of ventilators. We have already sent ventilators to Italy and have pre-orders for several thousand units, including 1,000 pieces for Portugal. The UN has also shown interest in ordering CoreVent for critical areas such as sub-Saharan Africa. We are searching for partners around the world to create a service and distribution network for long-term support of end users. We can deliver thousands of CoreVent units to any country in the world.
Okay, so I'm back here. Now this example is not showing or not asking you, hey, if you like to buy ventilators, if the hospital need it, you can get it from this company. No, I think there are several useful observations that I make over here for a non-manufacturer, right, that we can learn from. First of all, in the video, you would have heard about ease of use, right? You have heard about ease of use. You heard about long time reliability, cost efficiency, fast time to market. These are terms that you also know. But for a non-manufacturer like themselves, they took 2 months from drawing board to mass production. But many of us, or many of the customers that I observe, it takes 1 year before you push out a product, or it takes more than that. So how do you be agile? And Does your process, the technology that you choose, the content that you choose matters a lot? Yes. So not to sell some koyo for my company, yeah, but there are certain value add if you chose the correct technology, which gives you open standards. So a keyword was also about standardization, not proprietary, but we go for standardizations. We look for off-the-shelf industrial components. We want to buy from global company with local presence and support. And of course, this is all to support this thing. Long-term reliability, cost efficiency, fast time to market. The faster you get on, yeah, the more you can sell, the more profits you make. So it's actually as simple as that. But of course, they managed to get it in time. Now, there are a lot of other learning points, which I'll not go through from that videos. If you like, you can always search from it on YouTube and see what are the things that may be relevant for your company. Now, there are several mega trends that are accelerated by the pandemic. And I think this just comes in right smack in the middle where we are talking about smart manufacturing. This pandemic comes in and it affects us. So I'm not going to run through all these points, but I just want to highlight what it means to us, right? Connectivity and convergence. So I would love to have this in person, right? It's an in-person seminar. It's actually real conversation. It's a real exhibition. We are talking to each other in person, but we change. So the interactions with business partners, interactions with customers, all has to come online, like what we are doing today. The face-to-face interaction is still the best. Now, automation and AI, and specifically I highlighted this artificial intelligence, it will continue to drive investments in technology. Not because technology is good, but we also see during cases of lockdowns, employees cannot get into the factories. You cannot visit your customers. You can send your machine there, but you cannot go down to commission it. So how are we going to mitigate this? Then we also talk about the changes in terms of the products that people buy. So innovations in the retail experience, how does that change the product and how does that change us if we are in the manufacturing space? But one thing we also observe very carefully, it's companies who are able to shift to new business models generally evade the downturn, right? Except for those in the semicon electronics, which are doing fine. This is a boom timing, but many other businesses might not have this luxury. So these are all pointing towards adoption of technology, moving along with the time, how important it is. So the pace towards Industry 4.0 will only get faster. This chart only shows automation Industry 3.0, right? When now we come in with two more segments. So this is called Series Smart Industry Readiness Index. I'm not going to show you what it can do. If you like, please search for this on Google. But primarily, it shows you a measurement of your readiness. And this statement over here, it's very true. We cannot improve what we cannot measure. So if you are going to embark on your smart manufacturing Industry 4.0 journey, the first thing to do is measure it. The next few slides will be very fast, right? Because it's just showing, giving you a report of how it differs. It differs a lot. Implementation between MNCs versus the SMEs, implementation, it's different. MNC tends to do it faster. SME tends to take a wait and look at wait and see first type of attitude. Why? Cash flow, right? And also, I don't know what is it in it for me. So I hope in this whole conference, you hear bits and pieces of why you need to do it. Now, it also differs across industries, right? Whether you are making a computer chair, right? Secret lab, making semiconductor or just making power. It differs across industries. And for me, I'll say it is okay. Not everyone needs to be at the same state of Industry 4.0. And this is a survey, right? Done based on Siri, the 16 dimensions. And I like to draw your attention to just these two industries, pharmaceutical and food and beverage. You will see that in general, if I mark on a 2 over here, 5 means you win already, right? You are Industry 4.0 champion. So after this survey, we find that people in the pharmaceutical industries, they are generally on average, right? At the two mark. But people in food and beverage is still very hands-on, right? Like a pao. Like, so although the pao can be made by machine, it is still manually packed into the trays before it is put into a machine to seal it, right? Companies have been thinking, how do I transfer the pao into the trays using robots without crushing the pao? So if any of you are doing this area of business, you can PM me. I'll put you in touch with those food and beverage companies making pao. They are looking for these solutions. Same thing for those people making achar. How do I pack achar using robots or using some automation process? We find that it's a challenge, right? Because of the acidic nature of achar. So these are some of the challenges that companies face, but it also differs across industries. Is it necessary for all companies to have a very high score? No, not exactly. But with this score, and when you want to go into the full realization of Industry 4, then at least you know, right? I can know the state of my company, my factory today. I will understand the impact to my bottom line if I do certain things, right? I will have to then set essential business objective, not just because you get a grant, you want to spend a grant to buy the latest technology. It doesn't help you if it is not understanding and not answering any business objectives. And then, of course, finally, it's how do we also reference it to the bigger community? What is the ecosystem? Which other tauke is doing the same thing, right? Can I reference to them? Are they benefiting? Are they now becoming the market leader? So this is something to take into consideration. So back to the main topic about the presentation, it's full realization of Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing. How far are we? I say we are still far, as what I have generally observed, but it differs according to industry. It also differs according to MNC versus large local companies versus the SMEs. But one thing is true. One thing is definitely true. The train has already started, right? If you are still chasing the train, please make sure the door is still open so you can jump on it. If you go to the train station and find out the train is not there anymore, then we have to say, sorry, I think it's a bit too late. But the good news is the train has just started. Even though Industry 4.0 has already been spoken about in the market for close to 10 years, realization from different companies has started about 5 years ago. The train has only just started. So don't worry, you still have time. But a very important thing, and that's my last slide for the audience today, it's our mindset has to change, right? Whether you are a system integrator, a product and technology provider like myself, or running a factory, your mindset has to change. Like this is my car in my dreams, right? This is a Tesla. Right, it's a very hot car for engineers now. Everyone wants to get one because it signifies technology. It means it's very cool. I'm not saying that it is a good car or not, but you'll see that it changes. It's now the most valued company in the world versus all the big giants of car manufacturing. It's unbelievable. You only get a steering wheel and a very big iPad in front. This is change. But if you don't embrace change, change will replace you. So that's what I have for sharing today. Thank you very much. And back to you. Yeah, back to Fionn.
All right, thank you for your wonderful presentation, Mr. David. We have gathered 2 questions for you.
Okay.
The first question is, so you are saying the state of development is mixed. Should we be worried about this?
Don't worry about whether you are late or you are early. I think the first part to realize would be change is going to happen. Right? Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing is happening. Your competitors are doing it. Your neighbors are doing it. Not because they have the latest and greatest technologies, they have money to spend, but there must be certain necessity from the consumers, from the customers. So if you see that, I think I would urge you to look a little bit further. Is your customers asking or needing something that you need to change the way of working in order to satisfy them? So if you are already thinking about that, then it's good. If you are still fighting yourself with this question, I don't need Industry 4.0, I don't need smart manufacturing, then I think you need to get very worried, right? In 5-10 years time, your company, your factory, right, may be replaced.
Thank you for the answer. So the second question is, how is COVID-19 affecting what you have just shared?
Yeah. One of my, I think one of my slides, I talk about the change in the mega trends due to the pandemic. So I'll probably reference back to that. But beyond it, I say the pandemic has accelerated, right? Has accelerated the pace of Industry 4.0, and that's true. A lot of people doesn't want to. For example, we are using Zoom today. I can tell you, even as a technologist myself, this is not something I used 1.5 years ago. Right? Meeting online is like, wow, science fiction. Wait, let me get on a flight. I'll fly to you. But it has changed. So COVID-19 has changed the pace of adoption of technology. And I see a lot more companies getting onto it and asking, so how should I get started? Not just because of the technology being available, but also because of the lockdown of people affecting their operations. So something is really happening to say, hey, you need to do this. So although I don't like COVID-19, I really don't like it. It's disrupting our life too much from a safe and healthy perspective, health perspective. Yeah, but from a technology adoption perspective, COVID has actually helped us to be faster. So in a way, it has accelerated the pace.
Thank you so much, Mr. David, for answering all the questions. So ladies and gentlemen,